Hey fellow golfers, today I'm going to cover 5 differences that you often see between a good player and pro and a high handicapper, with some diagrams to illustrate those 5 tips. And then I'm going to give you a suggestion of 5 key shots you want to master to really bring down your score, to sharpen your game, to keep to that low handicap, or to get to it, consistent with those earlier swing tips. The first 5 is really the hip sway. So the hip sway. Good players and pros tend to sway the hips more on the downswing towards the impact point than high handicappers who tend not to sway the hips at all and try to just stand still because they're worried about hitting the ball. So you'll see in the diagram a slight more sway for the pro to the high handicapper. Second is the hip turn. So this is how much your hip turns and opens out as you come down from transition into the final shot. Again, pros tend to open the hip as they come through. They tend to open the hip as they come through much more than high handicappers or golfers that are less experienced, and they tend to turn much less. And that gives them less room to come through also with speed. So the hip turn, more hip turn, the better. It doesn't mean changing your club angle. It's just your hip turn combined with the sway allows you to come through much more than if you were to this. One is the bend. So higher handicappers, less good golfers versus pros. The pros tend to turn the shoulder down. Turn the shoulder down, particularly on the backswing, down. So the angle is coming down. Amateurs and high handicappers tend to stay and they turn their shoulder across. So not down, but across. So the shoulder goes like this for higher handicappers and amateurs, as opposed to like this. So think about that shoulder turn. Again, it'll give you that torque that you need to come through and hit the ball. And that's another reason why you also open up your hip as you come down. So the shoulder turn down versus the shoulder turn across. Looked up this way, the shoulder turn down versus the shoulder across. The shoulder turn down goes that way, and the shoulder across tends to do that. The finish is key, so following your downward impact and extension, pros tend to look up at the ball, stand tall, stand upright, so as they come through, upright, upright, as opposed to staying more crouched down because they started covering the ball. They tend to stop there, as opposed to full follow through, facing the target, following the impact point. Mastering those 5 shots to go with those 5 better movements that I've just shown you. 5 key shots to master to really keep your handicap low, to get more accuracy and to enjoy the game as a result more. The first is accurate iron shots. One way to do this is think of 2-2-2. So 2 being 2 inches. Go down on your grip 2 inches. Pull your back foot back 2 inches. And then put the ball 2 inches further back than you would normally do. So if it is normally in your center of your stance, put it 2 inches further back. That'll allow you to get a more accurate and penetrating shot, as opposed to having the variability that you would have without the 2-2-2. So 2 inches down on the grip, back foot back 2 inches, ball 2 inches behind. Gives you that penetrating lower flight shot, more accurate straight shot. Fail-safe driving, you want to be always in the fairway, get your drives nice and straight. And I would suggest a number of key things. Tee your ball lower than usual. So while a lot of people say tee it high to get the big swing, that's true if you're a pro. But if you want to get that greater accuracy, specifically the weekend golfer, tee the ball down a little bit. So have the ball basically 3/4 of the ball below the top of your driver. Go down on your grip a couple of inches. Open your stance, keep this arm straight along with the shaft. Aim for your right side of the fairway. And that way you're likely to come down through and get a much straighter drive. So open your stance. That's the square. Open your stance. Grip down, ball down. Aim for the right side of the fairway. And you're likely to be able to get a nice, straight, reliable shot. Tinker with those few things. Particularly, also try to keep this nice and straight and rather stiff. I'll come back to a piece of advice that Butch Harmer gives on this in another clip. Do subscribe, lots of exciting stuff to come. Next, reliable pitching from the great Severiano Ballesteros. Go down on your grip, stand a little bit more upright. You want the club face to be square to the target direction, not closed, not open. I'll come back to slight variation in a moment. You want to glide the club along the ground, not dig in, but glide along the ground. So you're looking for that reliable pitch shot. The handle, the butt should be facing at your sternum. So have that reliable pitch shot where you're coming through, gliding like that. Now, if you want a higher shot, put the ball back a little bit and open the face a slight bit. So this way, same principle, but you are hitting it earlier and you're opening the club face slightly to get a little bit more height. Same reliability, but facing the sternum. And keep it there. Hitting it square and hit it along, for both cases, hit it along your shoulder line. So what you're trying to do is hit it along the shoulder line. Hit it along the shoulder line. This gives you a reliable pitch shot. Next, reliable bunker play. If you're more than 20 yards out, don't always think about using your sand wedge. Use your pitching wedge. This is my pitching wedge here. Use a 9-iron, use an 8-iron even, depending on how far you are out. But the swing is the same. So you're still hitting 2 inches behind the ball. You still open the face to flatten it. You're still doing a full swing through to carry the sand. It's just that the distance is greater, so you use a slightly longer club with your hand a little bit more down in each case. You'll find even with the 9-iron and an 8-iron, it'll stop on the green with perhaps 1 bounce. So think of the distance, think of the best club to use in your bunker play. Lag putting. I've covered that in a recent tip. Why don't you take a look? I put a link above. I'll put a link in the description too of these recent tips. Practice getting the distance right on your putts. I would say the distance is far more important. So practice trying to get the putts up to about 6 inches to 2 inches from the hole. Right, from all sorts of directions, from all sorts of distances. Practice lag putting. When it really counts, you can get that in your mind, you'll get your distances right, and then it's just a matter of reading the slope of the greens correctly. It'll bring all your 3 putts down to 2 putts at worst, and with any luck you'll get some of those lag putts in as well, turning what would have been 2 putts into single putts. A really critical shot alongside the others. If you combine these 10 pieces, you will find your game and your score improves considerably. Do enjoy, do subscribe, hit the notifications, hit the like. See you on the flip side, my friends.